This is the one with contract shit-eaters.
A moral aristocratic kleptomaniacs.
The prophetess of East London.
A Welsh scientist fanboy.
And a terrible ending.
It's called Planet of the Dead.
Here we go!
We're still on our endless voyage.
All through time and all through space.
With Slovene and Angels now.
Dalek, Cybers, Uden, wow!
Tennant, Smith and Eccleston.
And Capaldi, he's the man.
Doctor Who is cool again.
That was Russell's master plan. Who back when?
Reviewing all new Who there is.
Who back when?
Subscribe and rate on iTunes, please.
Rose and Donna, Amy Pond, Rory, Martha and beyond. Join us on this odyssey. What other choice could there be but who back when?
Who back when?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen of Podcast Land. Welcome to another episode of
Who Back When? A Doctor Who podcast.
Or Dog Past.
This is N057, Planet of the Dead.
Holy smokeroonies and cheesecakes. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, how many times have you guys seen this episode in recent times?
I've seen it once.
Not as many as you, I'm guessing.
We just sat down, ladies and gentlemen, we just sat down to watch it together, and it was the third time that I have rewatched it in, let's say, as many weeks.
I think you've got no one to blame but yourself. I've been putting this off, hoping that we'd never get to this episode. Even when you called me round tonight, I was like, maybe I'll crash the car on the way there.
You didn't take the bus?
No, I did not take the fucking bus. Nor did it fly away.
The first two times that I watched this recently was on buses.
No way.
Or were on buses, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
and
on my phone.
And that context made you feel more warmly and sympathetic towards it?
Well, the first time around, I kind of liked this episode. Second time around, not as much.
Were you looking around at all your fellow bus travellers, wondering who would be calm in a crisis?
I was like, oh, wait, hang on. I need someone who's Caribbean and can see the future.
Were you not looking at your multiracial motley crew around you and just bonding with them all and thinking, well, you will definitely need to be here?
Did you not ask where they were going or what they were having for the tea?
I didn't. Since when are we reviewing my commute?
And where they were coming from and their home lives and just generally be really intrusive.
No, I didn't. No, I did not. Shall we do a B-scout of this so people who have, I don't know, successfully avoided this episode can find out what it's about?
Let's.
Time for us to synopsize,
Clarify and summarize.
so take a view
And grab a brew.
and listen to this overview, this free-for-all.
We like to call a bite-sized chunk of who.
Bite-sized chunk of who.
We open on Lady Christina D'Souza stealing from Mission Impossible, Indiana Jones, and the International Gallery all at once. Escaping the scene of the crime, she boards the number 200 bus and is promptly joined by our Converse-clad hero, the Doctor.
Shazam! Wormhole alert! The bus takes an unexpected detour beyond the Scorpion Nebula to the planet of San Helios, where the unfortunate passengers encounter two shit-eating bug dudes and a swarm of civilization-devouring stingrays.
It now falls upon the Doctor, in reluctant collaboration with Lady Defuckface, to get the mighty 200 and its patrons back to London, without letting the Stingrays through as well, and before UNIT closes the wormhole back on Earth. B-Scout over, you are welcome.
Aren't you just? Wow. So that's what this is about. Where do you want to start?
Well, we start with Lady Christina D'Souza, apparently beloved enough after this episode to get her own spin-off adventures in comics and such, and become an established part. Yeah, we mentioned this on our second comics episode.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And now an established part of the expanded Doctor Who cosmos, and boy, I hope we bump into her again.
Apparently she was originally, or this character is a derivative of a different character that was originally going to be one of the Doctor's companions. There was going to be a master thief teaming up with the Doctor.
Oh, that could have been really fun.
Yeah. Not if it had been her.
Just if it was someone who could act a bit.
Yeah.
So is that our problem with her, primarily, that she couldn't act?
She's also incredibly poorly written.
She has a really terrible fake, posh accent.
Oh, and she's so arrogant.
Does everybody know that she started on EastEnders?
I found that out whilst IMDbing her.
Me and Drew are going to do her most famous theme for you right now. Do you want to hear?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who's who?
Oh my god, you know so many things about this person. Okay.
I really don't know where we're going with this, but let's go.
All right, let's do it.
You're not my mother!
Yes, I am!
Bravi.
British listeners will know what that was.
Yeah. And she was in EastEnders for some years.
Like a long time.
Yeah, she played...
We saw her grow up, really.
She played someone called Zoe Slater and was apparently voted the 35th most popular EastEnders character.
Of all time?
Apparently so.
Behind Tiffany, I hope.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
But I am both impressed and appalled at your knowledge.
I only know about Pet.
Oh, Pet Butcher.
My bow tie is spinning right now, listeners.
What's he called? Frank?
Frank.
Pat and Frank. Oh.
We are getting way off topic.
Yeah,
not that I want to get back on topic.
But I just want to set this, that's the standard of acting that she's used to. It's like EastEnders style acting, which is like...
And a completely different voice from the other end of the spectrum,
yeah,
presumably.
and very common as much, like rough Londoner, kind of.
Right. I IMDb'd her, and it seemed to me like EastEnders is her biggest career move, I guess.
It made her.
It made her, yeah. That's how she was discovered. And then after that, she's not done much. She's done like an episode here, an episode there, but she did do, I think, 8 episodes of a failed reboot of The Bionic Woman, in which she played the title character.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, proof positive that she cannot support a series by herself.
Yeah.
I mean, I think her character, like you say, was very poorly written. She was odious. She conveyed the odiousness of the privileged aristocracy. Oh, I'm rich enough to afford mystique and go about gallivanting and ruining people's lives because that is my raison d'etre.
Well, it wasn't just that. Well, yes, exactly. It was her, specifically her raison d'etre. Everything that she said was about how interesting she was and how sexy and mysterious. It was like, oh, yeah, no, that's how I like it. Extreme and up the pooper. Every line was just like, oh yeah, I'm always prepared for something. Magnum condoms.
My wormhole is pre-lubed.
Oh, no, she's awful.
The worst line that she has, because I was privileged enough to be here with Marie and Leon, and we all watched it together before we started recording, is when the sand is in her hair.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, she acts in no way convincingly there.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, it's in my hair. I've got dead people in my hair.
But at the same time, it's like, oh no, the paw! I'm covered in the paw!
But yeah, it's not all her fault. That's a very poor line. I'd struggled to think of anyone pulling that off.
But is there a chance that she was just poorly directed or just poorly conceived as a character?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, outside of acting, she doesn't seem to... I mean, okay, this is just according to IMDb. For all I know, she is off saving the world every day. But it seems as though her 2 accomplishments across all of IMDb, or IMDb trivia for her, is just like, she was on EastEnders, and then she was voted one of FHM's sexiest women of the year, 12 years or something. Every year she was a different number.
Wow.
Wow.
And,
impressive.
And that's it.
It's hard to make it as a poorly written woman in British television.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Michelle, if you're listening, do write in.
Oh,
oh God, now I feel really...
Oh no. Oh.
It is weird though that you say that she's unsupported here, because there are 2 writers on this episode.
Yeah.
This is written by RTD and Gareth Roberts. RTD, of course, done loads of episodes. This is like his 6th in a row. Gareth Roberts did Shakespeare Code, The Unicorn and the Wasp, which some of us like more than others.
Yeah.
This one, The Lodger, and The Caretaker.
Capaldi Caretaker.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
So, this is beneath him, it's beneath RTD. What happened?
I don't know, but isn't this just the swan song syndrome? I mean, we had the Next Doctor last week or 2 weeks ago with most of this episode is really good, but then there are certain elements of it that are just so incredibly poorly written and ill-conceived. Same applies to this one. Spoiler alert, same is going to apply to the next one. Yeah.
I had a thought actually between that episode and this. Was RTD really getting into Torchwood at this stage? I mean, you've got Torchwood, you've got Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh.
We've essentially got 3 series ongoing. I mean, this one is skipping in and out in its weird special schedule, but maybe everyone's just distracted.
That's possible. I guess so. I didn't realize he was one of the producing forces behind Torchwood.
Who?
RTD. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I thought RTD was all over Torchwood. I thought that was his thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
We should probably do a bonus episode on that.
We should. We are well behind on Torchwood bonuses. Anyway.
But connected to that, Gareth Roberts wrote a lot of episodes for Sarah Jane Adventures. So, I don't know, maybe...
Actually, yeah, multitasking shouldn't be beyond a showrunner in general. and at this point, he's doing 1 episode every 4 months. I think he can probably hack it. He should be able to do this.
You just forgot who his audience was. He thought that Sarah Jane was...
I don't know either. Who directed this? They wrote it. Who directed it?
Oh, I don't know who directed it. Sorry.
Maybe it was just poorly directed.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I'd tell you what, one of the notes I thought that maybe they had with her was, you've got no chemistry with Tennant. What we'll do is we'll give you another scene where you go to the top of a sand dune, have a 5-minute conversation that's utterly pointless, and maybe by the end of that, you'll have figured out your chemistry. And all through the episode, they kept trying it again and again, and it never worked. It made made you yearn for the days of Donna Noble, did it not?
No, not really. But Tennant has had marvelous chemistry with some of his temporary companions or female co-stars.
Kylie?
I was thinking Kylie, yeah.
They had tremendous chemistry, right? Girl in the Fireplace, you still haven't seen that one. Yeah.
Can you have not seen the Girl in the Fireplace?
All right, I'm getting around to it. I'm busy reviewing late Tennant.
So Girl in the Fireplace, he had a relationship with I can't remember her name now.
Madame de Pompadour.
Bingo Bongo. Yeah, but I can't remember the actress' name. Anyway, whatever. And then the Doctor's daughter had a relationship with her as well. They're now married.
Yeah. Doesn't get more relationshipy than that.
So could it maybe also be that, like, as he isn't in any way romantically entangled with what's-her-face EastEnders, it just ain't happening.
She's just not blonde enough for him.
Oh, boom, done.
That's it.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You can see him grimacing away as she presses her face against his.
His
at the very end.
face went, like, after the kiss when she backs away. What the hell is that look? It's like the most gormless I've ever seen him.
I felt like it was forced sort of sexy wooziness. Like, oh wow, that was the best kiss ever.
Yeah.
I can't even really see straight.
It was like a cartoon.
Yeah, which clearly he wasn't feeling, and that's not the direction. And you're right, cartoonish. It was like it was like a caricature, the whole thing. But why would you force that kiss into this? Don't kiss the Doctor. You are an obnoxious, awful human being. Fuck you. Well, joke's on her. Now she has space herpes. But
that's the least of her worries. Oh, man. But no, she's so awful. And the end. I mean, I don't want to skip to the end right at the beginning.
Let's just do it.
But where she has to fly away in the bus. And when smiling's not enough, people have to break out into spontaneous cheers and the music
There's
salutes
even a unit
her.
soldier cheering when she takes off.
And she just hovers over them for like 5 minutes saying her goodbyes and nobody thinks to like maybe shoot the tires.
Blast the shit out of her. Yeah.
She's only a few feet up. She'll survive that fall and then you can lock her up like she should be.
Yeah. And now you've placed alien technology in the hands of a criminal. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a darker version of this Easter special somewhere in a parallel universe where she crashes that bus into an orphanage and the space piranhas come and sharknado the entire Earth. Yeah. Anyway.
What happens after she flies away? She can't get away from Earth. She just has to land somewhere in another country. She doesn't... it's in this Doctor Who comic universe. She must be gallivanting about across all of space, but that wouldn't happen. She'd just go to France, probably, and start stealing from the Louvre. I don't know.
That's exactly what would happen. I bet she's now going to use the anti-gravity clamps to just steal stuff. She can steal heavy things now, because she's got
a getaway car.
Yeah.
Bus. Yeah.
Well, either that, or she could just put those clamps on, she could put them on the Statue of Liberty and just fly that away.
Except it's a weeping angel, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
Temporarily forgot about that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Really, not a good choice by anyone.
No. And I tell you what as well, they focused on her so much to try and make her likable in this episode that we see almost nothing of all the other side characters.
Yeah, you're right. Did you recognize the guy, by the way? Barclay.
Yeah. Where do I recognize him?
He's the lead character in Get Out, in the very recent Get Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one, Barclay.
Yeah, well done. I didn't make a note of his name, unfortunately. I don't know his name, but I mean, he's fantastic in Get Out. Also, did not realize he's English. He does I assumed he was American just from Get Out.
Great.
Also, watch Get Out. It's a great film. Anyway.
So, yeah, they said there'll be a test on it later about the passengers' names. Can we remember any other names than Barclay?
Barclay.
Yeah.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Yes, Jobless Nathan.
Jobless Nathan.
Oh.
Caribbean lady.
Carmen.
Caribbean lady's husband.
No, you got me there.
They're like Angela?
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, two of us came up with it, so I guess. But surname, she gave a surname.
Oh, I did write that down in my 5 pages of notes.
We might not need to know that.
Whittaker.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, Angela Whittaker.
And also you've got Not Quite Cribbins, the bus driver.
Oh, yeah. He was completely blanked on him.
He was giving me such great Cribbins vibes that I was actually starting to get quite mournful, but then he died, so
I know.
it's fine.
I felt like he had promised.
That didn't stir any salt into the wounds. Okay, yeah. All right.
And then the Doctor very clearly says, don't go through there, you'll die. And he's like, oh great, I'll just run into this wormhole. And nobody thinks to stop him.
Yeah. I mean, you could soundbite this maybe, because it is the Doctor says...
So what you're saying is, on the other side of that is home. We can get to London through there.
The bus came through, but we can't.
Well, then what are we waiting for?
No, don't.
I'm going home, mate. So don't!
All right then, gotta get back to the depot. Bye.
Also, skeletons don't stick together that way, right? I mean, that's not how it works.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and also, if everything sort of organic and fabric and everything except for bones gets burned away, why is his wallet intact on the other side? Like, oh, fuck, I just hated that scene entirely. It's terrible. Anyway, so I guess that's that.
Okay, so I have a question about the wormhole as well while we're here. Because
let's do it.
When, the guy goes through, turns into a skeleton and is immediately, like, instantly on the other side as a skeleton.
Yeah.
But then when the bus goes through, it takes him ages, like, a really long time to, drive through the wormhole.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Also, the sand. I mean, if it burns lots of stuff on the way through, the doctor at one point just throws a handful of sand at it, and it still wobbles on the other side. Like, wouldn't that just evaporate?
Yes. Yes, it would, if this episode were in any way consistent.
And the thing about the wormhole is now 10 miles. 10 miles high? Does it literally just grow upward? I sort of imagined...
I guess so.
No, it also grows outwards into the fourth dimension, which is why it takes longer for them to get through at the end.
I see.
Yeah.
But do they not grow...
God, that's so well doctored.
Do they not grow, like, it's a spiral? Should it go outwards? Should people just walking across London be not, like, 10 miles wide be...
Yeah, should you maybe not back off a bit?
You're right. They should be looking around on their desert planet, San Helios.
And just skeletons appearing.
Yeah.
Left, right,
oh, yeah, you're right. I was going to say London is appearing, but yeah, you're right. Skeletons appearing everywhere.
Yeah, unit skeletons with guns scattered everywhere.
We're really tearing the science of this episode a new one, but okay.
Well, can we keep going with that?
I think we can. There's a little bit of trivia associated with the damage to the bus, by the way. The fact that, like, traveling through the wormhole is damaging in some way. And apparently it's because they had two bus props. One in London and one wherever most of this episode was shot. Can't remember where, but oh yeah, by the way, bear in mind, they flew the entire production crew to a different country to shoot most of this episode.
As in, presumably a desert country like Tunisia or Morocco or something.
Yeah, exactly. All of that for this. Anyway, whatever. So the prop that they had over there was damaged. Yeah. And so they rewrote the script to include, actually, it will damage as it's traveling through.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's good. The other science I was going to tear apart was Lady Christina's body heat waking up the Stingray.
What are you talking about? She's smoking. Isn't that sort of the whole thing? She even makes a joke about it.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, like your cock would turn to ash in my vagina, Doctor. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, you really want to get up inside this one. I mean, at the end of the episode, everyone just gets sort of patted down or like stood to one side, like, hey, are you okay? But then we get this extended crotch shot of Lady D'Souza as she gets her labia scanned by one of the unit dudes in like a hazmat suit. It's like the most extended crotch shot I think we have had on New Who so far.
Where do you think she keeps her
10
artifacts?
10 seconds of crotch. I can't stop saying crotch. Wait, did you say where does she keep the... Do you think it's a metal detector and they're just scanning her crotch for a cup of Ethelstan?
Yeah. I think so.
Oh, yeah, I guess
the doctor probably beat it flat and she just, tucks it away for a rainy day.
Oh, God. Yeah, possibly.
I don't know. But also, when she's down there with the Stingray that she wakes up with her magic crotch of fire, then they come back up and there's a Stingray 10 times the size, and...
Isn't it roughly the same? I didn't realize that it was larger than the... Isn't it the same one?
Is it not much bigger?
I think it is supposed to be the same one, but the
first one got frazzled in the security grid.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, yeah, so it's two different ones, and one of them has just had more to chow.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess so. I mean, my only reaction at the time was, oh, wow, it's much bigger than I thought it was.
Well, I didn't Ross think they were, like, this big. I know this doesn't help podcast viewers, but...
Roughly the size
of a ruler. Like...
Yeah, about a foot long.
When you see the little... you see the little, like...
Swan? The little one, the baby one? What? I don't know what you're talking about. What?
When they get the like projection of one and it's just floating around and they're like pointing at it.
The hologram.
Yeah, the hologram, that's the word. I thought that was life size, and then I was very surprised when they were that big.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought they were tiny little mite things, like just eating.
I didn't even think that far ahead. But I think it makes sense to have them huge. Because there aren't enough of them to cover an entire planet. It would take so long for them to eat the entire planet.
Yeah.
But if they're
if
they're enormous
big.
and there are millions of them, then I guess it's like, okay, well, at least this shaves 50% off the time to eat a planet. Well done, guys.
Now, I'll tell you what it does. It means that they can get rid of those fly extras and
the Brundle flies.
Yeah, and then you don't have to worry about transporting them to Earth or anything, and you can just be like, great, we're moving on, we only care about humans. Fuck you, xenomorphs.
You call them xenomorphs?
Well, it's just, Greek for foreign body, isn't it, essentially?
Oh, okay.
That's where I'm going with it.
Oh, okay, well done. Whoa. Whoa, in my head. Yeah, I don't speak Greek. Well done. They reminded me very much. Nick and I very recently reviewed a classic serial, a Pertwee serial called Mind of Evil, in which there's this alien in a bucket that transmits whatever. Like,
is that like the Doctor Who version of Polly in My Pocket? Alien in a bucket.
Alien in a bucket.
Just as cute as can be.
I totally forgot about Polly in My Pocket. There's this alien in a bucket that can put your worst nightmare, like just manifest your worst nightmare, and most people to whom it does this, they die of fear. And when it does this to the Doctor, among other things, he sees these anthropomorphized flies. He sees these people with the heads of flies that look almost exactly like these dudes. Which is pretty cool, I think.
And that's what the Doctor fears the most of all the aliens he's seen.
But it's not an alien that we've encountered on Classic Who. So it's just like, oh, what props do we have? Oh, make a new alien and we'll just pretend that he's encountered these at some point and they were terrifying.
But then they made them friendly.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're the same aliens. I'm saying they're very similar. I'll do a comparison screenshot on whobackwhen.com.
Okay. Well, it seems like they missed a trick here anyway.
Yeah.
When they could have introduced these as terrifying new villains, and maybe some super nerds were like, great, finally, I've been waiting 30 years for this stuff. No, you haven't.
And instead we get shit eaters.
Yeah. Tritivores, as in detritivores, as in shitivores.
Maybe that's the thing that horrifies the Doctor more than anything.
Maybe, yeah, that's
Shit
exactly
eaters,
it.
Yeah.
It's like human centipede. That would probably be one of the images that I would see if I encountered an alien in a bucket.
Yeah, it would.
I'm just looking at my notes over here. Quite often, the very first note that I write down is just a question, and it's like a little, mind if I start us off with a question? Yeah. So in this one, I have written, I often do start off with a question. Was there no guard or laser before they marched in? Why wouldn't you just have a glass case and a motion sensor on it? Why is she still indoors after going back to the roof? Why does she take off her mask before she's escaped? Why is she wearing diamond earrings to a spelunking burglary? Why is her sole escape plan one dude parked right by the back door? Why doesn't the bus stop when it's being pursued by tons of cops with flashing lights? ...
Yeah, all of that. That was the first thing I wrote as well. Why doesn't anyone look at the thing they're guarding?
Yeah.
Everyone just stand with your back to this, like...
But also, no one was guarding it before they entered the room.
Yeah, true.
Well, no,
They just go in and pick it up. Problem solved.
There was a sailor. There was a guy from the Navy.
Oh, really?
With a naval hat on.
Who was
Did he have
watching
a wooden leg and a parrot on his shoulder?
He was from the Order of Athelstan. Back when the first English king instituted the Royal Navy. I don't know. But you're right, there are at least 10 things wrong with this opening scene, and the whole episode is just reeks with everything has to bend to fit whatever's going to happen next, rather than actually make any sense.
I mean, they really wanted to set up her Ethan Hunt spelunking outfits, like that equipment. They really wanted to go she can do this, so that later on we can have a callback to it and the audience will go, we know that she's an expert at this. We can trust her. This is great. Yeah. She's got background now. But if she escaped, there's a hatch in the roof of the International Gallery, and when you escape through that hatch, you're somehow still downstairs inside it? What the fuck did she do? Where did she go? Did she break back into the gallery? Why? Can someone help me?
Also, why is the goblet of the first English king in the International Gallery? Sorry, just me. Rather than the National Gallery. It's the first national thing we have, and it's in the International Gallery!
I mean, what is the International Gallery? Is this just them having popped a new sign outside the National Gallery, though?
I'll tell you what it is. It's probably because the British Museum is full of the world's artifacts. So the International Gallery has to be full of the stuff we didn't steal.
Yeah, I guess.
Soon to be renamed the Foreign Gallery if Theresa May gets away. The dirty Foreign Gallery.
Oh, that's tomorrow. Okay.
God, yeah.
Oh no. By the time you hear this, ladies and gentlemen, the fates of the UK will have been decided.
Up until 2022.
Oh yes, you're right. Sorry, up until 2022, we are currently just about 24 hours away from
24 hours away from the exit polls.
Oh yeah.
And knowing whether we can sleep at night.
So back to this terrible episode.
Let's take solace in this appalling episode.
Oh, God.
Oh, my next note is actually quite relevant to what we were literally just discussing. I've written down potential screenshot opportunity 5 minutes in. Why are all the black people sitting separately from the white people?
Ooh.
Oh, shit.
I didn't notice that.
Sorry. Anyway, just a stray observation.
Are they also nearer the back of the bus?
Oh, goodness. Maybe. I mean, I'm going to go with unintentional coincidence, whatever. Anyway, yeah.
I've got another question about Lady Christina the Fuckface.
Okay.
Which is... For me, the problem with the character, among so many others, was the same I had with Heath Ledger's Knight in A Knight's Tale. My sister had me watch A Knight's Tale because she really loved it, and I managed to turn her against it. And now she hasn't watched it since. Because I opened her eyes to the fact that there is no reason given why we should like him, and here there's no reason given to like her.
But aren't we meant to like him because he's dreamy and cool? And
Well,
they play We Will Rock You in that film.
Well, exactly, but there's nothing actually coming from within him. There's no charisma that he's exuding, or empathy, or quality, and that's the same with her here. And like you said, when we were watching the episode, probably loads of nerds are orgasming when her spandex
100%.
squeaks, and that's enough. That's like Heath Ledger being dreamy, and that is apparently the basis for a character that we're supposed to accept.
Yeah.
It's just not on.
No, but I mean, okay, so if you use that parallel, didn't that film come out shortly after 10 Things I Hate About You, which grounded him as this incredibly, a good actor, a very likable actor, a likable person, and also dreamy and hunky and like super sexy. That was the backstory to Knight's Tale. Even though it's completely anachronistic, people went to Knight's Tale and they went, I know this guy because I've seen him flirt with What's-Her-Face in high school. And in this one, people watch this episode and they relate to her character because they go, I know that person from EastEnders, and I know that person from having jacked off to her image in FHM.
Okay, Marie, you watched EastEnders.
Glad you didn't go with the other one.
She was
Marie, you jacked off to her in FHM.
I know, because I can't open it anymore. Sorry. Please, Marie, you watched EastEnders. Save us. What did you think?
Yeah, she was a very likable character in EastEnders.
There you go.
Yeah, but then she's playing the exact opposite. Like, she was very grounded and normal and likable, and now she's this aristocrat with this fake accent and
But do you think there's maybe
not likable? No.
I don't know her from EastEnders at all.
Yeah.
You're the expert here. But
Really don't picture me as a
sorry.
EastEnders expert.
I didn't mean that. But do you think that maybe there's an element of laziness behind it because they go, well, if we cast someone who's famous enough,
It's like,
we don't really have to worry about it.
it's a bit like casting Kylie. Just everybody likes Kylie. You don't really have to try very hard. Like, but she's a good actress. So,
And that was a good character.
and that was a good episode. Yeah. But so I think maybe they've tried to do it again. We don't
With another soap star.
have enough time to build up a backstory for this character, so we're just going to give you someone you already know. And the guy
Tennant?
Which guy?
The guy from the last episode as well.
Morrissey.
David Morrissey. Yeah, he's a very well liked English actor as well. Like he hasn't had any like massive roles where you go, oh, it's him. It's just he's in a lot of
he
things.
hadn't at the time, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe then. But there's in a lot of things that most people go, oh, I know him. I can't remember picture where from exactly, but I know that I like him.
Sure.
It's just these little shortcuts for the specials.
I think I may have shot myself in the foot because every other example that you've now brought up, they've done tremendous jobs and they've been much more fleshed out as characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just poorly written then.
I still think the point stands is that they've used them as shortcuts, but it's just maybe they got too lazy. It worked so well in the past. They were like, oh, we don't need to try too much with this one.
Yeah, maybe.
As a veteran of the Beatles board on fanfiction.net.
Hello.
Some time ago.
Pleased to meet you.
Wendy Slater, checking in. If you have a base on which to build, you can take shortcuts, but you can't be lazy.
Yeah.
You can't just be artistically bankrupt, which is what they were here.
Yeah.
It's just...
But I don't know if they didn't try to make her likable. She was annoying when she's like, oh, I'm going to be the leader, and then cut to we're in the bus and she's on point 6 of this massive like diatribe.
Well, my question is, did they not have a couple of female staffers who are at a sufficiently high level to be able to say, no woman is going to like this.
No, this is
and
gonna
most
backfire.
men aren't either.
Yeah, but I liked that scene because it then set up when the Doctor jumps in and does take over. Because both of you said at the time, why is he letting her? She was like, oh, I'm in charge. And he just sits back and lets her.
Yeah.
And then when he kind of sees his moment, everyone's panicking, everyone's screaming on top of each other. And he then steps in and says, and calms everyone down. And does
That bit is wonderful.
I
by the
love
way.
that scene. That's a really nice scene.
I agree. Yeah.
And just brings it back down to a human level. It's like everyone's got something to hold on to, to like hope.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it just makes even more stark in contrast to her own lack of authority and empathy and humanity.
That's why I say I don't think they didn't try to make her likable.
No.
Like, they're setting her up as a...
But this is my problem with Heath Ledger in A Knight's Tale. It's like, yes, he's an arrogant knight dickhead. It's like, for 2 hours, brilliant. There's no character development. He just romps around being a dickhead, and he eventually is a more successful dickhead. And
But he has nice floppy hair.
oh, so he does.
Yeah.
Scratch the last 20 minutes.
Sorry,
And
this
she
is-
calls people smelly.
Do you think that maybe, like, taking a jab at the aristocracy? I mean, it's almost like it's a return to feudal times whereby she goes, you will now do this job, and you are now the whatever, and you are the mechanic, and you are the thing, and
Yes,
blah, blah.
you are my desert gardener. Here is a spade.
Exactly.
Go to work, boy.
My next note, why did she bring a spade, by the way? But, wait, hang on. Wait, so do you think that's it?
Possibly. Maybe, I'll tell you what, write in rich Who Back When fans and tell us how finally you saw yourselves reflected.
Preferably
in this,
blue-blooded.
yeah, in this shining paragon of a character who you've been waiting for all this time, and how Moffat with his stupid socialist leanings is just ruining it for us now.
Isn't that what every aristocrat dreams of, being a low-rent Thomas Crown?
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're... Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, so okay, so in that scene, we get to see the interior of the bus, and on the wall there is an advert. Sorry, this is a complete step away from this. There's an advert for a fictitious book. A book that does not exist, that the production team just created, as in created an advert for, popped it inside there. And I googled this, and no one has an answer for it, apparently, but there are so many people asking the question, what does this mean? What does this mean? The book in question is Ocean of Noise by E.R. Butler, and it features the tagline, or the strapline, Ocean of Noise offers a window into a world that is as dark as it is enlightened. Theories?
I want to read that book.
Oh yeah, me too. Why not? Ocean of
sounds
Noise,
awesome.
E.R. Butler. Love her or his books. Ocean of Noise offers a window into a world that is as dark as it is enlightened.
Well, is the clue in that strapline?
I don't know. I mean, is it a
As
reference
in
to the
it-
end of this season in some way? I don't remember the...
I thought if you look into this for enlightenment, you will only meet with darkness, because there's actually nothing more to it than this joke.
Oh, maybe. But why make that ad? Yeah.
To fuck with fans! RTD is listening to this, pissing himself laughing.
Just rubbing the jam.
Yeah.
So much jam. Mission accomplished. Hugh Gwen's talking about this. Oh, yeah, maybe. Actually, yeah, good point. That's a solid theory. But, okay, let's keep this in mind in case in the final double feature, maybe something comes up.
I think we've had other books or other fictional, paraphernalia appear in Doctor Who. Like maybe not in Midnight. I'm just thinking of that because that was a rocket and this is a bus. But something similar has come up, and
Surely, yeah.
has equally been no explanation.
Oh, so maybe we'll never find out. And the internet will keep clamoring for an answer.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page, unsolved Doctor Who references and mysteries. There's just thousands of lines long.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, if S Gamer and JD don't know, then nobody does.
That's true.
Frankly.
Right in, S-Gamer and JD. Okay, got another science question for both of you. The Doctor says that he speaks every language. Does that mean that the TARDIS translation matrix is somehow still at play?
No, I think he's gone to the trouble of learning every language of the universe, apart from the old satanic one, which was around in the early days, probably before the creation of the universe, where the Doctor says he's been in this episode.
Doesn't he say, in the Satan Pit, however, doesn't he say that if it's a language that not even the TARDIS can translate, then that must be a really, really old language. He doesn't say, if it's a language that I haven't bothered learning myself, it must be really old. He totally credits the TARDIS.
Yes, he
and we
does.
have learned that there is such a thing as the TARDIS translation matrix. Paraphrase, I don't know if that's what it's called. But that's the get out of jail free card. That's the, BBC suddenly figured out 15 years into the show. Shit, everyone speaks English. All right, we're going to fix this now. These guys don't speak English. We hear them click and... Exactly. Sound like someone gargling vomit. And then all of a sudden, he says, yeah, I speak every language.
Yeah, and where I was going with my point was, he has something that translates every language. He has the Babel box. So, of all people in the universe, he doesn't need to learn every language, but he has uniquely gone to that effort.
What a guy.
Also,
he's the Michel Thomas of time travelers.
The Satan Pit language, surely the TARDIS has had longer to translate that than any other language. What languages are you going to learn if not the languages that are from the time before you? Sorry, this was 20 episodes ago, but...
Those are all very fair points.
None of the science in this episode checks out at all.
No, true.
What about Malcolm's science?
Oh, and his Bernards.
His Bernards, yeah.
Malcolm, you bring up one of the rare good things about this episode.
Yeah, I liked Malcolm.
When I saw Lee Evans appear, my hopes were not high. And yet, he was the most lovable thing about it.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, he was really good. I checked to see if he returns. He doesn't really. He's mentioned in Day of the Doctor, and then he shows up in a Doctor Who comic called Don't Step on the Grass. But that's it.
They should have brought him back.
Yeah.
He was great, yeah.
Maybe minus a little, like tone down the slapstick a tiny little bit. But
I think that's what he does, though.
That's what he does?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with.
I think that was already quite toned down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Mouse Hunt, to give you an idea of,
Not familiar with Mouse Hunt.
It's just him and Nathan Lane running around a house, like they're two Toms and the Mouse is a Jerry.
Oh, this is the movie based on the famous parlor game,
the board
Mouse
game.
Hunt.
No, that's Mouse Trap, completely different.
Oh, sorry.
They don't concoct a Heath Robinson-like machine over the course of 2 hours.
Oh, that's really disappointing to me now. Okay, but yeah, I would love to see him come back.
Yeah, and it was actually quite pulled it off, actually. I mean, you talk about bad writing in this episode. He had to say I love you to the Doctor so many times. He could have annoyed the shit out of us by the end of it. But each time it was just as lovable.
Yeah.
It was more lovable. I think it got better.
Yeah.
Like a fine wine.
Yeah.
And every other time we've railed against the repetition, the endless repetition that Doctor Who seems to be indulging in lately, in our reviews of it, this was unique in actually fulfilling the point they must have thought it was fulfilling when they wrote it down on the page. Sloppily.
Yeah.
So one of my notes, we talked about repeating. This episode also repeated a fair few ideas.
Okay.
Which, one of them sprang to mind when, first of all, Planet of the Dead is essentially like Forest of the Dead, but on a bigger scale. Just in the title. Just in the title.
No, but it is also it's the Fascinarada that eat anything that comes into the...
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The flesh-eating...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And strip everything apart from the bone.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we've had that.
Yeah. And in that episode, as in this, they're standing looking down a bottomless pit to the core of a giant ship / planet. And they have to go down that hole, but instead of the Doctor Supermaning it down there, she does her Ethan Hunt thing.
Ethan Hunt spelunking thingy. Yeah. Okay. I feel like we've had that, I mean, not just in Doctor Who, we have the trope of we have to jump down a chasm or a hole or whatever a lot.
Okay, check this out.
Okay, I'm checking it.
The tapping of the alien's hand on the screen, which turns out to be the fly's hand, I suppose, at the end of it all, which is a pretty big anticlimax, was exactly like the Rachnos claw in a previous special.
Along with, as you pointed out while we were watching this, along with the noise of the Brundle flies that looked, it was very much like the Rachnos going clack, 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 clack.
Yeah. And
tap, 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 tap.
And it was the same rhythm and pacing as well. You'd see about one shot every 10 minutes, and every time a little bit more of the hand or the arm or the shoulder was revealed.
Hate to say it, I think that also is a really, really classic trope where you only get to see the monitor aboard an alien spaceship or an alien station or something like that as they are observing the main characters.
Well, they are usually the bad guys. Like, that just sets them up as you're being watched, and this is...
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So I guess there was a little twist on it.
Yeah.
But it was a disappointing twist.
Oh, I was going to ask, like, does that make this better? Like...
No, because I think they would have been more interesting as like, a bad guy.
How bad is that goddamn monitor, by the way? Like, why would you design... if you're an alien race, why do you design a monitor just have things overlap Why do you have, we're a bug race, so we need bug-like things kind of obscuring parts of the screen. It makes no sense.
Also, they've got compound eyes. Would a monitor...
Why wouldn't they have your right?
Yeah.
Have 250 monitors.
Have a compound monitor or something.
You're so right. That is such a good point. Yes. Why don't they have wings, by the way? That really bugs me. Like, why do these bug dudes not have wings?
I suppose they've just evolved like chickens. The wings became vestigial, and now they can't fly anymore, and then they got arms instead. I'll tell you why it is. Because as shit-eaters, you don't tend to find much airborne shit.
But you want as many arms as possible just to, like, shove as much shit into your mouth as you can.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt kind of bad for these guys because they clearly, they have a rough time as it is. Now they're stranded on a desert planet. No one's shitting anywhere. Somewhere on board that ship, by the way, just the fact that they are still alive, it means that there's so much shit. By the way, were there just two dudes? Did everyone else die? Or were there just two dudes?
How long were they supposed to have been there?
I don't know. Seemed like a long time.
Because they were called in, so it's before civilization was eaten.
Yeah.
So
a year ago.
I guess, how long does it take to eat a civilization?
They can't have been there very long because the Stingrays would have had it.
Well, how long does it take the Stingrays to go all the way around?
Well, if they're flying around the planet fast enough to rip a wormhole in space, you'd think not very long.
Oh, that's true.
Although, why doesn't that just speed up the rotation of the planet? Why does that tear a hole in the fabric of space-time?
Because, wait for it. Wait.
And this, a lot hinges on this, because I thought the one clever thing this episode did was to have the conceit of a race that creates wormholes in that way and travels from place to place and devours the planets thereby. That's what I thought was the one thing. Can you explain it to me?
I can by quoting the Doctor as he explains something else.
In a super clever outer spacey way. Just trust me.
I mean, it's the equivalent of saying it's wibbly wobbly, it's timey wimey. Yeah. He says, it's a super clever outer spacey way. I agree. I think that's a really good idea. It's a nice plot driver. However,
they're not evil. They're just doing what they do, but they are destroying civilizations and
they're just eating. They're just eating and traveling around.
Yeah, they're not doing anything intentionally.
I also get exactly. They're not doing anything intentionally. I get the impression that they're not even really aware of what's going on. I mean, they're just Stingrays. They're just like a massive sharknado, and they're just flying around a planet, and occasionally the planet around them just sort of changes. Must do. I mean, from their point of view, they're not intelligent enough to go, if we all go in the same direction,
it just gets refilled.
Yeah, exactly. Every now and then it's like, oh, nice, someone served dinner.
Lunch,
cool.
Yeah.
We're now going to eat for a year, and then we're going to eat again for a year.
Yeah.
But sage Caribbean lady aboard the bus, she goes, it was intentional. Someone intentionally created this wormhole. Like, there's a malevolent intelligence behind it.
Yeah. That
does not check out for me.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah,
she was quite an annoying character as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Don't act surprised. You know perfectly well she was.
Yeah, she was. Everyone was annoying in this one. But at the end, when she gets to do her thing, he will knock 4 times.
Yeah, that was a good line.
I mean,
that's so intriguing.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I mean, ladies and gentlemen, podcast land, we looked at each other at that point. Like, I had goosebumps. Just, it's worth it. Sat through an hour of this nonsense. It was worth it.
And it just brought back, like,
should have fast forwarded, but yeah.
I haven't seen that episode that she's referring to at the end of this series for so long, but it brought it back crystal clear, like that moment. I won't spoil it.
Oh, don't spoil it.
No.
I don't really remember that.
Oh my god,
I remember a few things. I mean, I know who comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you two looked at each other and said worth it. I stayed aloof.
Yeah, that saved the episode for me, I think. That one line.
Oh, that didn't even make up for all her annoying lines to that point. Run, 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 run. Oh, it's death. You know what? I think it's death. It's like, it's all shiny. It's like shiny death.
And there's a point where they're all behind the bus and she's like, they're coming! It's like, yeah, everybody else can see that now. You don't have to narrate this.
It's like on the lottery, number 44! Number 27! How do you do it?
I would love to win £10 a week every week, though. Would you not?
Yeah, why not?
Like, why not play more? Why not play, 100 games one week?
Yeah, dare to dream bigger. Like, just
Come on.
do the national lottery, not like one of those 10 quid ones.
Actually, I did like that little bit where they ended up saying £10 a week, twice a week.
It is actually really nice.
It was quite sweet.
You're
And
right.
they were a very sweet couple when he was like, I'm making, what was he making? Steak and chips. Chops.
Something, chops and gravy?
Chops and gravy. And then she goes, and I do the washing up. Like, they take it in turns. I thought that was
Like, oh,
really
yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you started to warm to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I was leading on to was there was a lot of attempt at humour in this episode, and most of it was awful. like when the unit general, I'm afraid her name escapes me, is saluting, and the doctor says, "Did you just salute?" And
Oh, yeah.
And-
on the phone, you mean? Yeah.
yeah, and when he says that really unnatural line to say, "Oh, we've had all the extremes," for D'Souza to be able then to say, "Oh, yes, I love it extreme. I'm a dirty aristocrat."
It was even worse than that. Because he said, since I've been with you, it's been nothing but extremes. It's like, no, come on, Doctor. This, your life is extremes. Don't blame it on her. Not blame. Don't give her the credit.
Yeah, exactly. Don't
Yeah, but
legitimise her
some-
shenanigans.
Yeah,
but
she
someone-
thinks she brought the extreme now.
But someone, namely RTD and what's his face? The other guy? The other writer?
Gareth Roberts.
Gareth Roberts, they were high-fiving the shit out of that line. They were like, nailed it! Extreme, right? This is the best. This is gonna save the episode.
Yeah.
Now we just need to set it up naturally with 2 minutes of ham-fisted monologue that somehow uses the word extreme. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not as acquainted as I was with the phenomenon of Mary Sue characters, but does this woman count? Is she a Mary Sue?
Mary Sue?
What's a Mary Sue?
What's a Mary Sue?
The internet was awash with poorly written women as Mary Sues a few years ago. But I'll tell you what, I'll look it up.
Look it up, please.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, while you look up Mary Sue, I'm going to pull up another sound bites.
Oh, the places I've been. World War I. Creation of the universe.
Because that's like, you can go anywhere you like. Basingstoke, Alpha Centauri. Like, why is it like, oh, I've seen every aspect of the past, the future, every time, every space, every part of the infinite universe, and you start with World War I. You don't even specify World War I on this planet.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Are they the top two? World War I and the creation of the universe.
He scored the winning goal on Christmas Day in No Man's Land because obviously he was the striker and he wouldn't pass the ball. That's who the Doctor is.
Oh.
Nick agrees, right, Nick? Thanks, Nick. Mary Sue
There we go.
is an idealized and seemingly perfect fictional character. Often this character is recognized as an author insert or wish fulfillment. So maybe she's not quite a Mary Sue, but she's definitely someone
Like
who...
a Stepford wife of some description.
No, as in someone who really obviously the author wants to be.
Oh,
or is
I
the
see.
author's favourite character.
Or wants to marry or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To the utter disregard of everyone and everything else in the plot. And I feel like a bit of that happened here.
Maybe. But yeah, maybe. But more, I mean, I'm sorry to pull that down into the gutter a little bit, but more along the lines of, I mean, a little bit of a wank fantasy. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna put together what I think the bulk of the audience will think is really raunchy and sexy thief in her spandex.
Do you think it does come from Torchwood is obviously a little bit sexier and for a more adult audience, and he's trying to bring a bit of that into the Doctor?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
To further emphasize that point, it feels like the ideal, we're talking about female characters here, the ideal woman aboard this bus is Caribbean lady, right? I mean, she's wise, she can see the future, she's capable of loving.
She's pulling in a solid £20 a week.
And she's part of this perfectly harmonious romantic relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, both of those, that couple is the ideal couple in a way, because they're so happy.
Yeah, but she's too minor and tangential to be a Mary Sue character. Mary Sue isn't really this Lady Christina D'Souza, really. Mary Sue is a badly written female character who is clearly written by someone with no experience of women or has any interest in depicting a real human being. Maybe River Song is nearer as a candidate, except she's good. So.
River Song is good.
Oh, interesting.
She's a good Mary Sue.
Take that back.
But I reckon that some people
I totally
will
misunderstood the Mary Sue thing.
Some people will have criticised when River Song came along her as a Mary Sue character. I guarantee it.
Oh, I'm going to make a point now that I didn't make because I wasn't on that episode, but that I wished I'd made, and it fits into this Mary Sue thing. The end of Forest of the Dead, when he puts River in the little computer universe.
Yeah, welcome to the Hell Matrix forever.
Does that basically turn her into a Mary Sue? He's put her in this mother role.
Oh, I'm totally getting it now.
Trapped
Yes.
her in this domestic bliss that she never asked to be in, and she's this
yes, except I think she's aware of the hell that she is now been destined to spend eternity in.
But that's what you've described basically, is not really understanding her as an individual woman, just putting her in this role.
Yeah, possibly.
When Donna had the exact same life with the exact same kids in the same Matrix. That's it, right?
As well. Yeah.
More so than what's her face, River Song, because River Song knows exactly what's happening. This isn't me and this isn't my life.
She didn't choose to be there. She can't escape it. Is that not worse?
I guess she does embrace it in a way towards the end as well.
That really pissed me off, that though, because it felt like it was against everything that we've seen of River. And I know that in that episode you haven't seen all that. That comes...
Sure.
Well, even now we haven't seen it. That comes later.
Yeah.
So when they were writing it, they didn't know. But even in that one episode, the backstory that you have for her and how important she is to the Doctor, and she's this adventurer, she's his equal, all these things. She has a sonic screwdriver, and then he just puts her in this little domestic bubble. I always thought that was a real letdown.
It's awful.
Yeah. That was that.
We'll have a moment of silence for River Song.
Yeah.
So this planet is called San Helios, Leon.
Oh, here we go. I hate this. Well, okay, I say I hate this. I've brought this up on Who Back When before, saying I hate this as a phenomenon. But since then, it's a little bit of a parabola. Occasionally, I just love this. We were talking about this before pressing record, ladies and gents. It's called San Helios. It is a desert planet. Helios. It's bloody hot there. But it was called San Helios before, when it was this lush, green, humid planet. And this calls back to a classic Who serial for me, a William Hartnell serial. You may have seen this one. I want to say this is... we always go back to the same one. I want to say this is... Drew, do you know which one? The Chase. That's right. In which I think it's The Chase, in which Hartnell and co. go to the planet Iridius, which is a desert planet, but it has recently become a desert planet. It used to be there are fish people living there because it used to be just this orb of water, and now it's turned into desert. So why did you call it Iridius before when it was just a water planet, you fucking idiots? And the same thing applies to San Helios.
Maybe a time traveler named it.
Spoilers, but here's what you're going to call it.
It was really confused for a long time.
And then that time traveler spends centuries just 2 fingers up at that planet laughing at them. You have no idea. Yeah, possible.
I got to say though that I didn't really feel any tension in this episode. I don't know how you guys felt, but when you've got a giant swarm of flying mega bastards approaching from an enormous distance, there's no personal peril there. Okay, they had a bit in the fly shit, and that was easily dealt with. But I guess my mind could just skip ahead and be like, well, of course this swarm is going to be just enough far away, or just far away enough for them to be able to escape, because you don't really see the threat. They're running, they're reacting, but it wasn't present enough for me.
I think it was really anticlimactical as well when they actually do catch up with them and the bus is in the air and the swarm is right there, and that feels like there's peril, and they get through the wormhole. and you're like, oh shit, they haven't closed the wormhole, oh, this swarm is going to come through, and then it just doesn't. It takes so long.
And they spent forever just floating above London going, we're back home, look, there's the London Eye.
Yeah. And there should be a massive swarm that followed them through the wormhole, not just 3 they then managed to shoot down fairly easily, and
Yeah, with guns that until now haven't worked on exhaust pipes. And now they can shoot down flying alien exoskeletons zipping about the sky. The upper reaches of the ether.
Perfect precision. There was the peril when the army major woman pulls her gun on Malcolm.
Okay.
I felt peril then.
Yeah.
I just felt an overwhelming urge to hug Malcolm.
Oh, Malcolm.
Oh, what a dude.
Yeah.
It'll be alright, Malcolm, just die in my arms.
It was so brave. He was like, I will never surrender. He was a good man.
It's okay, Malcolm. You were brave.
Okay, I've got a question about that scene. She's super duper happy to just sacrifice the Doctor to save the Earth, admittedly. But, I mean, there's still a bit of a margin. There's a safety margin.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to close that portal or the wormhole right away. But she's super happy to sacrifice the Doctor. Do you think, given that we've met her before, she was in turn left, when she saw what happens to the world without the Doctor, do you think she retained those memories? Wouldn't she have retained those memories? She was part of the team that, sent back Donna to go and, kamikaze in front of the truck.
Yeah. Oh.
Because she was part of the time travel team.
As soon as she was saying that, I was like, what the fuck are you saying? You know who the Doctor is. You know how important he is. You wouldn't just strand him on another planet or, wherever, without his TARDIS. Yeah, maybe.
Isn't that Beetle Universe Unit General, though? Doesn't she become nothing when the Beetle flops back onto the...
I mean, that is one of the possibilities. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. But what I'm thinking is we had Rose collaborate with her at the time.
And she remembers.
She remembers everything.
Yeah. Exactly. But then she was from another universe.
That's true, but wouldn't everything have reset? Oh, I'm sorry, we shouldn't get back into that one again. And I'm just being ignorant.
Look at Cribbins. Cribbins was throughout that episode, but I don't think he lived that year in Leeds, did he?
No, that's true, but Cribbins also wasn't part of the team that jerry-rigged an extra TARDIS time travel thingy.
Okay, I'll give you that. So it's possible that she had a trans-dimensional reality jump.
Maybe.
Yeah, why
well,
not?
either way, even if she didn't, she is what is she, a colonel, a general, whatever? She's not the new brigadier, right? I mean, she's a general or something. But regardless, she's a high-ranking unit officer. She has encountered the Doctor before. She knows, well, certainly she's read about the Doctor. She knows all about the Doctor.
Oh, but there is a line that did really intrigue me, and she said something like, we all know how it ends. Oh, about we all want to meet the Doctor, but we know how that ends.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So I didn't know what to take from that, whether it was just he brings destruction whenever you meet the Doctor, your lives are in danger, or whether they had somehow had some warning about, a soothsayer has seen the future and told them that when you meet the Doctor, the world will end, or I don't know.
That's super interesting.
Because it was a really ominous line.
It was,
that kind of explained maybe more why she was keen to get rid of him, because we don't want to meet the Doctor.
Okay.
That adds a whole new level to it that I hadn't considered at all.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. I just took that to mean we only ever meet him when something bad's going down because he's the guy that saves us. Not that he's the one who creates something bad.
But I think they play with that quite a lot about whether the Doctor brings the trouble or is the savior. He obviously sees himself as saving the world, and we do as Doctor Who fans. But yeah, from the other side, you go, oh, every time there's trouble, this guy is here. It must be him.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else in your massive pile of notes?
Just that she comes up to the Doctor at the end and says, why don't you take me with you? Everyone's always let me go everywhere. Because of my amazing charm. So, you're taking me around the universe, right? I mean, that was the most horrific moment of the episode for me. That was the pure horror. Right there.
From her, that was horrific. From him,
even worse.
Well, no, it was quite interesting, I thought, because he said, I've had companions and I've lost them all. And it was basically him saying, I'm not going to have another companion.
Yeah.
He ruled out, which I know that
I hate that.
Really?
I absolutely hate that. Yes, because I don't want him to... I mean, in general, we've already had him say something to that effect before, right? He doesn't want a new companion. Basically, he hasn't wanted a new companion since he lost Rose.
Yeah.
And then he's reluctantly taken on a new one, and then he doesn't want a new companion again because he's lost Rose and someone else.
Yeah.
But in this case, she's not companion-worthy. She's not companion material. I don't want him to reject her sort of offer of companionship because he doesn't want to lose her or put her in harm's way. I want him to just flat out reject her as a human being because she's an arrogant, full of herself criminal who deserves to be behind bars.
Thank you.
What was the line? What was the really obnoxious line that she says just before she dives down the pit to get the crystal?
Oh, soundbite. Let's soundbite that. That is such a wonderful line.
The aristocracy survives for a reason. We're ready for anything.
Not because they oppressed everyone else.
Certainly not. It was because of their innate spelunking techniques.
And always having sunglasses.
Yeah.
And spades. Why did she have a spade? Did she expect to dig into the floor of the International Gallery? Why did she bring a spade? Surely that's just unnecessary weight as she's running away from the cops. Oh.
Yeah, but you're right. The Doctor doesn't reject her on account of her utter lack of morals. It's because he might be a bit moody at some future point.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking is what it is.
It really is. No.
For me, so much of this episode was derivative, but it was original only in its awfulness.
Is that when you said there was one original thing in it, it was how awful it was?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
And she finishes one of his sentences.
Oh. Awful.
Oh, so bad. She's the worst.
There was one really good line, I thought, and that was...
You look human.
You look Time Lord.
It reminded me a little bit of lots of planets have a north. Like it's the same kind of, like whatever, like Time Lords, humans, whatever. Same things apply.
Yeah.
Meh. Yeah, maybe it's a stretch. Sorry.
No, go for it. There's the odd good line in this episode. I liked the bit where Barclay pulls out his fake Rolex.
Oh, yes, that is brilliant. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Okay, so then fast forward to the end. The Doctor goes. I was sure this was a trivia point, by the way. I googled it, couldn't find it. I think I was wrong. But the Doctor says, "Oh, those two privates, Barclay and Nathan, they're good lads. Barclay's really a really good mechanic, and the other one's looking for whatever. They're super loyal. Not really. They're nice dudes.
Yeah.
One of them didn't even pass his 1 week mechanic course.
2 weeks.
2 weeks." Okay, sorry.
NVQ.
But he didn't pass it. And the other guy, he seems like a nice chap, but...
Well, apart from when he's being really passive-aggressive, going, "Doctor, you promised!"
Yes, there you go.
We fucked this up and used all the petrol, but you promised you'd get us out of here.
Yeah, that's why he lost his old job, by the way. That attitude around the office is unhealthy.
But yeah, because I really recognised Barclay, and I was thinking, oh, well, like, does he come back later on as a unit soldier? And like that's
what I
know him
assumed,
from.
yeah. Either that or that there are previous unit soldiers in Classic who named Nathan and Barclay or something like that. Because he says, like, privates Nathan and Barclay.
Yeah.
Like, he even assigns them a rank. But no.
Nothing.
Trivia brought up nothing.
No trivia.
What they were going to do was they were going to have a Saturday morning cartoon show.
A spin-off.
Nathan and Barclay, the Uniteers.
Yeah.
Ran out of budget.
Okay, I've only got two more. One thing that we actually brought up while we were watching this earlier tonight. Emergency code 1 equals call unit. There's an alien. Code 1. The first in line of all the emergency codes is there's something alien going down. We should bring in the alien cops.
Well, isn't that what unit? Oh, I see. But
where's that number 1?
The just standard London detective.
Exactly.
Right, gotcha.
Why wouldn't it be like we've got a code something blah 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 blah,
Yeah, or something to do with the Queen.
Code 1 surely would be like, damn it, why do people keep calling unit and telling us that someone's robbing an off license? Surely that's more common than, there's a wormhole opening in central London. Lots of piranha fly thingies are coming through. Yeah, it just seems unreasonable. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm really running on fumes over here, but the last one is...
So was RTD, to be fair.
Okay, my final note is when the unit lady shows up, I can't remember her name either, the general, when unit shows up in general, and the cop goes, here's what's happened 2 minutes ago. She goes, I know, I read the report. Who had time to write a report? Which report? What is going on?
When you press 1, that writes you a report. Because wibbly wobbly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my last one. I think that's it anyway.
Time travel. Somebody in the future just goes back and writes all the reports and just puts them in a file. So they're always there.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. That's someone's job.
Great job. It's like ghost writing police reports.
Instead of Looper, where you're sent back in time to assassinate people, when they invent time travel, really what the rich do is send the poor back in time to do the admin. The rich don't want to become
bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And now it is time to rate this.
Did we laugh or hate this?
Bing bong, hey, la 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 la.
Ratings. I'm going to start.
Go for it.
I'm going to start with the last note I said as this episode was finishing, and I promise that I wrote this and conceived of this before Matt Thomas's review became known to me.
Okay.
For fuck's sake! 1.0.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Do you want to follow that?
I don't know how to. I'm going to give it half a mark for that last line. 0.5.
Wow.
There was one good line. That's it.
Okay, the last classic serial that we did was Claws of Axos, and I gave that 1.2 because I really didn't like it, but I would much rather rewatch all 4 episodes of Claws of Axos than watch this one episode a fourth time. So I'm going to give this less than 1.2. 1.1, there you go. I'm going a little bit above yours, Drew.
Okay.
Lady D'Souza was just terrible.
Absolutely.
Another reason, by the way, for the Doctor to reject her. You're like, no, I just spent a year with a person who can't act. Not doing that again.
Last week, I said, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I prejudiced myself against this episode. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I said, it's not going It's not going
You could soundbite what he actually said into it last week.
Last week, I thought that this episode might be better than I remembered and that the ending had soured it for me, rather than, as with The Next Doctor, I just fixated on the good bit and forgot about the bad bit. I thought here, there was a bad bit that overshadowed the good bit, but there was no good bit.
Oh.
Malcolm was a good bit.
Malcolm was a good bit, yeah.
Malcolm was a good bit. Well,
but then you
give it
also
0.5 then.
I'll give it, alright, I can up mine to 0.8.
0.8?
Yeah, because
Nice.
I'm gonna give 0.3 for Malcolm.
Nice one, Malcolm.
Well done, high five. Love you!
Love you!
Love you!
Cool. Listener minis?
Let's. Michael Ridgway is such a pro that he split this up into 3 equal-sized paragraphs for us to read out. Michael Ridgway, you are a legend.
We love you, Michael Ridgway.
High five, Michael.
Love you.
Love you. I can't do it. Love you. Am I close? Love you. Yeah, so the first listener mini comes from Michael Ridgway. Hello, Michael.
Michael says, hello, Who Back When gang. Here is my Planet of the Dead mini, a Doctor Who Desert Planet episode filmed in a real desert. Whatever else you think of this episode, the bus in the sand dunes is visually stunning. The return of kick-ass Unit Lady from Turn Left is very welcome. And I'm glad Unit finally got taxpayer value for money, brackets VFM, for their expensive-looking anti-aircraft gun.
Oh, nice one.
However, not enough stuff happens to justify the 60-minute yawn running time. Another plot element would have been welcome. Perhaps the human fly people should have been villains, puking acid, David Cronenberg style, on some of the more annoying passengers.
Yeah, the Brundlefly. The Brundlefly. Michael goes on. This episode reminded me of classic Who serials, The Three Doctors, where people are also transported to a desert planet. And who can forget the magnificent McCoy adventure, The Greatest Show in the Galaxy, which features evil clowns driving around a desert in a hearse. Wow. Who can forget that? I haven't seen those yet. And he gives this 3 out of 5 grains of sand. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that's generous.
Really, that's very generous.
I don't know if Michael's just a brilliant writer, but all his descriptions of classic adventures just sound
magnificent.
Far better than what we're watching right now.
Well done. Thank you so much for sending that in, Michael.
Should we read Matt Thomas's like, all together?
Hang on, Matt Thomas, he needs a jingle.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Who's reviewing? Matt Thomas. What's his rating? Matt Thomas.
That is awesome.
Wow.
I hope you're a Destiny's Child fan, Matt. If you're not, that's what you got.
You're right. Shall we read this one out together?
I think we should.
Okay, Matt Thomas goes. Massive red line. And he gives this a rating of what the humans leave behind from their behinds.
Excellent.
Yep, okay.
Succinct.
Yeah. Nice one, Matt. Thanks for sending that in. We have one more listener mini. This one comes from, guess who?
Tracy from America.
Hello, Tracy. Tracy goes, remember that episode of Next Gen when Picard falls for a thief who collects ancient relics? I loved that character. Why do I hate Christina so much? Well, she's presented as an obvious sham while the Doctor comes off as a more competent bluffer. That list she recites to the bus passengers is cringeworthy, and mainly it's her bag of gadgets that saves the day, not her brain. Although we get the sense that she's smart, she's not quite smart enough. She tries to exude confidence and wit, but the Doc somehow outshines her and makes her seem cheap by comparison. I can't figure out whether we are meant to love or hate this character. Could it somehow be both? Not sure if this is bad writing, bad acting, or bad directing. Ugh, seconded across the board. Yeah.
I'm fairly sure. Tracy continues, this very same episode, however, gives us Malcolm.
Score.
A fantastic, lively, devoted brainiac. Malcolm is begging for more screen time than he is given. He is the Doctor's equal in intellect, and they have adorkable exchanges in technobabble.
Aww.
Last note. It's an interesting choice to make the fly creatures not understandable. It's clunky. It adds a layer of dialogue we don't need from the Doctor. It wastes time. But it serves to make the world seem even more alien, almost like older classic Who.
Ooh.
Rating, Anakin. Or, I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and gets everywhere. But, I love you, I love you, I love you.
Love you.
I love you. Yeah, you're right. The writing of that scene it's not Phantom Menace, is it?
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's sort of on par. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tracy. Ladies and gentlemen of Podcast Land who are not Tracy, you can follow Tracy on Twitter. She is at Yekatnyatnuf. That's Phantom Tracy backwards. Bing bong, Future Punkin here. We did actually receive one more somewhat last minute listener mini, and I'm gonna read it out loud because well, for a couple of reasons. First off, I happen to have the mixer and mic still set up, and secondly, it's the first review from this person, and it's prefaced by him saying that he's just marathon 50 plus reviews just in order to send this in and to ask us a question. So, how can I not? Going forward though, please do send in your minis before we record. We've lately been trying to say in advance on Facebook when we're sitting down to record, because otherwise I'm just too lazy to assemble the makeshift studio again. Anyway, so here we go. This one entitled My First Review comes from English Pizza. And he says, I like this episode for the most part. Sure, the acting is kind of silly, if not dumb at times, with everyone just believing the psychic woman because she says something like, death is riding on the wind, as well as the fact that the fly people somehow have video of them, even though there is no sign of any kind of camera on this cremated planet. Fair point. Another dumb thing is that when the Doctor and Cassandra get to the fly people's ship, the fact that the Doctor simply kicks the spaceship and that fixes it is so stupid, but I can't help but laugh at it. And while we are still on the topic of the fly people, does that mean that all the flies on Earth are aliens, similar to the bees in Stolen Earth? Oh, okay, well, my first instinct is to say, no, I don't think so. I think this is just like a coincidence. It's like, what are they called? The rhino police dudes. All rhinos on Earth aren't aliens. It's just like this weird Disney-esque coincidence, I think. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off topic. English Pizza continues. But as for scenes that I did really like, is when the Doctor is trying to comfort them and saying that home is still out there and he will get them them back, as well as when the Doctor is talking to the unit woman and she is genuinely honoured to be speaking with him, and in response he just says, "Did you just salute?" It was very funny to me. As well as the nerdy scientist says he's read all of the Doctor's files, and the Doctor responds with, "Really, what was your favourite, the giant robot?" Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I thought that was a nice nod to the Tom Baker serial, appropriately titled Robot, and even though I haven't seen it, but I still thought it was a nice reference. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that serial. If it's a Tom Baker one, then we're steadily approaching it, so cool, awesome, nice reference. When I first watched this episode, English Pizza Continues, I thought that it was fairly enjoyable, but around the second or third time, it just came more and more silly as the episode went on, and overall, the whole thing didn't make much sense. Agreed. I give this episode a 2.8. It has some funny and charming moments that I found enjoyable, but other than that, I just kept asking myself, why did that happen? Why is this happening? And what is going on? Finally, English Pizza says, considering we are coming up on the Matt Smith times as the Doctor and the end of David Tennant, I must ask a question. Could some of you possibly do a commentary on the end of time, similar to your episode commentary for Rose? If there was ever an episode to do a commentary on, it would be Tennant's last episode. Wow. Okay. I have not considered doing a commentary on a Doctor Who episode or serial since then, mainly because our Rose commentary it wasn't entirely successful and it wasn't really met with high praise. I'm going to say it's probably quite unlikely that we'll be able to fit this in time for the next 2 episodes, but never say never. Possibly my co-hosts can back me up on this. If someone suggests a project to me, I am not entirely disinclined to accept that project. The problem is I'm taking on way too many projects as it is, so I don't know when I'm going to squeeze this in. I think we also, all of us, need to rewatch End of Time before we can make any such commitments, but we'll take your suggestion to heart and we will see what we can do with it. Thank you very much for sending in your very first review, English Pizza, if that's really your name. Very, very cool stuff. Please keep sending them in. Looking forward to hearing more from you. I'm going to bing bong it. Let's get back to the show and round off this episode. Ciao, everyone. Bing bong. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
What have we got coming up next? For New Who, we've got
Waters of Mars.
For Classic, we have Colony in Space.
And for our next bonus episode, we're going to have an introduction to Marie!
That's right.
Dropped pretty much simultaneously with this one, so go back to Who Back When and find it.
Abso-friggin-lutely. In the meantime, people can follow us sort of on Twitter. Marie, you're not on Twitter, but if ladies and gentlemen of Podcast Land would like to communicate with you, they can tweet at whobackwhen or send an email to whobackwhen@gmail.com and we'll forward anything on to you. Do you have any intentions of joining Twitter anytime soon?
Not really.
Cool. Drew,
yes.
You're on Twitter, right?
I am indeed.
What are you on Twitter?
I am at Drew Back When.
Ingenious marketing. Well branded. And I am at Ponken. You may or may not know how to spell that. Thank you so much for listening. Until the next time, be rad and excellent to each other. Rock on. And ciao.
Bye.
Toodles.
Nice.
Kablamo! Did you enjoy the show? Then please do what the cosmos compels you to and spread the gospel of Who Back When. Tell your friends. Don't have any friends? No problemo. Tell some strangers. Like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Who Back When, all in one word. Are you on Google Plus? Then find us on Google Plus. That's plus Who Back When. And when you do, tell us why you're on Google Plus. Who Back When just got its very own Twitter account, no lie, so give us a follow. You guessed it, that's at Who Back When, all in one word. Check us out on SoundCloud, vote us up on Reddit, listen to us on Stitcher, and head on over to our website, whobackwhen.com, where you can leave a comment, submit a review of your own, and peruse our visual index of aliens, monsters, and more, which increases in kablamos with every episode. And lastly, give us a rating and review on iTunes. Not only would it make us super chuffed, and it really, really would, but as thanks, we will transmigrate your iTunes nom de plume into the credit list of trailers for fake Doctor Who audiobooks produced by Who Back When. Have a poke around our bonus episodes to make more sense of that. That's it. Rock on and be rad and excellent to each other. Catch your earballs in our next Classic Who review, New Who review, or, still funny, Audio Who review. Ciao.
Who Back When?
It's over.
I am not watching Waters of Mars thrice. So if you want to come around and watch Waters of Mars here, you are more than welcome to, but I am not watching it again on my own.
Let's do that.
Yeah.